So the movie starts on this quiet street, Privet Drive. Harry's just sitting in this small room, looking at a photo of his parents and some friends. You can tell he misses them, but it's like he knows that part of his life is just out of reach. The only other thing in the room is Hedwig, his owl, flapping around in her cage. Kinda feels like she's trapped too, you know? Then Uncle Vernon yells for him to come downstairs. It's supposed to be a big night or whatever. Harry's been moved into Dudley's second bedroom. Not great, but better than the cupboard. Still feels like a cage though, and he hasn't heard anything from the wizarding world. No letters, no updates. You can tell it hurts, even if he's not saying it. Vernon gives him strict rules for the night. He's got to stay locked in the room, totally out of sight, while Vernon has his business guests over. So Harry goes back to his room, right? And surprise, there's this weird little creature literally bouncing on his bed. It's a house elf named Dobby. The dude is nervous, like jittery, clearly freaking out about something. He says he's got a message, but he can barely get it out. When Harry tells him to just sit down and chill, Dobby instantly bursts into these loud, messy sobs, like full-on meltdown. Turns out he's been treated horribly by wizards his whole life. Harry's trying to wrap his head around it. You can tell he feels bad for him. Dobby says he's never been treated like an equal before, and honestly, he's just desperate for someone to show him a little kindness. But the more he talks, the more upset he gets. Then he starts literally banging his head against the dresser, like it's intense. Harry rushes over and stops him, obviously shocked. Dobby's panicking, apologizing over and over. He says he has to punish himself for bad-mouthing his masters, but he had to come warn Harry. He says Harry can't go back to Hogwarts this year. There's something dangerous going on, some kind of plan, but he won't say exactly what. He's scared. And it's clear this warning is serious. Out of nowhere, he just loses it. He starts slamming his head on the floor, totally panicking, trying to stop himself from saying too much. It's loud. Like, chaos-level loud. Naturally, Uncle Vernon hears the commotion and charges upstairs. Harry has maybe 2 seconds to react, and somehow manages to shove Dobby into the closet just in time. Vernon barges in, confused and annoyed, but doesn't see anything, just Harry standing there. As soon as Vernon leaves, Dobby comes out and drops a bomb. He's the one who's been stealing all of Harry's letters. All of them. Harry's furious. I mean, who wouldn't be? He demands them back, but instead of handing them over, Dobby bolts down to the kitchen, and then things go wild. Dobby spots this fancy cake sitting on the counter. Without even hesitating, he snaps his fingers and makes the thing levitate, straight onto the head of Mrs. Mason, one of Vernon's super important business guests. Mid-convo. Total disaster. The room explodes into chaos, the Dursleys are freaking out, and of course, they immediately blame Harry. Vernon's absolutely fuming, and that business deal? Yeah, that's dead. After that, Vernon goes full lockdown mode, bars the windows, locks the door, basically turns Harry's room into a prison. He's not letting him go back to school. No way. But Hogwarts isn't giving up on him that easy. One night, Harry hears this weird engine noise outside. He looks out the window and nearly falls out of it when he sees a flying car. A frickin' flying car. And who's in it? Ron, Fred, and George Weasley, just casually hovering outside his window, ready to break him out. And yeah, they're not sticking around. It's time to go. So the Weasley twins and Ron legit rip the bars off Harry's window. No subtlety, no plan B, just straight up jailbreak energy. But of course, all the noise wakes up the Dursleys. Because of course it does. They burst into the room, right as Harry's grabbing his trunk in Hedwig's cage, trying to make his great escape. Uncle Vernon, fully losing it, grabs Harry by the leg as he's climbing out. There's this whole mini tug-of-war. Harry trying to get free, Vernon holding on for dear life, until finally, Vernon slips and just yeets himself into the bushes below. And just like that, the car takes off into the night sky. They're walking into the burrow, and it's chaos. In the best way. The place is buzzing with magic and weird little enchanted objects everywhere. It's messy, but warm. Like a house that lives. Then Mrs. Weasley shows up, totally furious at the boys for taking the car. She's going off, right up until she sees Harry. Then it's like, switch flipped. Her voice softens, and you can tell she's not mad at him. She's just happy he's safe. At breakfast, things start to settle down. Except for Ginny. The second she sees Harry, she just freezes. Doesn't say a word, totally red in the face. Full-on shy crush mode. It's adorable. Mr. Weasley finally gets home after pulling an all-nighter at the ministry. He's clearly exhausted, but as soon as he sees Harry, he perks up a bit, starts chatting about how the ministry's been raiding wizard homes. Something big's clearly going on, but he keeps it pretty casual. Classic Mr. Weasley. Then, in perfect Weasley fashion, things immediately descend into chaos. Errol, their ancient, half-dead-looking owl, crash lands in with the Hogwarts letters. Total mess. But hey, they arrived. Everyone's hyped, tearing open their letters. It's official. Time to gear up for another year at Hogwarts. The next morning, they're getting ready to head to Diagon Alley for school supplies. But instead of the usual way, they're using flue powder, this glittery magic dust that lets you travel through fireplaces. Totally normal wizard stuff, right? Ron goes first to show Harry how it's done. He steps into the fireplace, throws in the powder, says Diagon Alley, and poof. Green flames, gone without a problem. Harry steps in next. But, yeah, nerves hit hard. Instead of saying Diagon Alley clearly, he mutters something that sounds like diagonally. And the magic? It is not like vague directions. He gets spun around like crazy and crash lands in this creepy, shadowy shop full of dark, sketchy stuff. Panicking, Harry sneaks out and realizes, yeah, he's not in Diagon Alley. He's wandered into Nocturne Alley, basically the shady back alley of the wizarding world. Everything feels off. It's darker, quieter, and full of weirdos. Just when it's starting to get a little too real, boom. Hagrid shows up. Total hero moment. He scoops Harry up and walks him safely back to Diagon Alley. But Harry can't help wondering, what was Hagrid doing in Nocturne Alley in the first place? Back in Diagon Alley, things finally chill out a bit. Harry bumps into Hermione, who's there with her parents, and they all head to Flourish and Blotts together. The place is packed. Turns out Gilderoy Lockhart, yeah, that guy, is doing a book signing. The crowd is wild. The moms are swooning, Lockhart's flashing his big cheesy smile, and Harry's just kinda over it. But then Lockhart spots him, yanks him out of the crowd for a photo op, and makes this huge deal out of it. Before Harry can even blink, Lockhart hands him a whole set of his books, like, look, it's the Harry Potter starter pack. As Harry tries to escape, he gets cornered by Draco Malfoy, who, shocker, is being a jealous little troll. Starts throwing snarky comments, clearly bitter about all the attention Harry's getting. The usual Draco energy. The group keeps it moving, but then, oh great, Lucius Malfoy shows up, and yeah, you feel the shift in the air. He's smooth, but there's this cold, dark vibe about him. He eyes Harry's scar and casually drops Voldemort's name, just to make everyone uncomfortable. Then he goes full Malfoy and starts insulting Hermione's parents for being muggles and mocks Ron and Ginny for having secondhand stuff. Real classy guy. Before things explode, Mr. Weasley steps in. There's this super tense little face-off, calm voices. But you can tell there's a whole lot of history behind those stares. Jump to King's Cross, and things take another weird turn. Harry and Ron try to get through the barrier to platform 9 3/4. But nope, it's sealed. Panic sets in fast, and with the train about to leave, they go full rogue and decide, you know what? Let's just take the flying car, which was bold and messy. They use Ron's broken wand to steer the thing through the sky, but it's all over the place, dodging trees, trains, the whole chaotic road trip vibe in the air. Somehow, they make it to Hogwarts without dying. But of course, they get caught sneaking into the Great Hall. And not just caught, but caught by Filch. And they broke magical law by being seen by muggles. So yeah, things are not looking great. Snape is loving this. He's already mentally drafting the expulsion papers. But then Professor McGonagall shows up and brings the heat. Not expulsion, thank Merlin, but detention and a strongly worded letter to Mr. Weasley. Definitely not great. But considering how bad it could have been, big sigh of relief. So they're in the greenhouse, right? Sunlight's pouring through the glass roof, giving everything this warm golden vibe. It should feel peaceful, except Everyone's got their hands deep in pots full of mandrakes. Yeah, those freaky little root babies that scream loud enough to knock you out cold. Or worse. The roots are wriggling around like they've got somewhere to be, and the whole class is super tense. One wrong move, and it's Scream City. But the thing is, these weird plants? Their venom is actually the cure for something way darker. They're going to be the key to saving anyone who gets petrified later on. So yeah, deadly and important. Classic Hogwarts. Then cut to Defense Against the Dark Arts class, and we've got Gilderoy Lockhart front and center, looking like he just walked off the cover of his own book. His cloak is swishing dramatically, smile cranked up to 100, and he's going on and on about all the wild stuff he's so-called done. Then, for some reason, he decides it's a good idea to release a cage full of Cornish pixies. Chaos breaks out immediately. These little dudes are flying everywhere, flipping chairs, tossing books, total mayhem, while Lockhart's just standing there with that same cheesy grin. The real magic? It's not about the flex. It's about knowing what you're doing when things go sideways. The Quidditch field is buzzing, the kind of charged energy you can feel in your bones. The opposing team shows up, and they're rolling in style. It's not just their brooms that are catching the light. No, they've got new Nimbus 2001s, shiny, fast, and expensive. It's all about that power, the kind money can buy, and right away, the insults start flying. One after another, sharp and cutting. It's like you can feel the air getting heavier, the tension building with every word. Then, out of nowhere, someone casts a spell, but it backfires. A flood of slugs bursts out of their mouth, and the whole scene just goes silent. No one knows whether to laugh or look away. It's grotesque, but honestly, kind of hilarious. Later, the mood shifts. Hagrid's hut is warm, but the conversation turns a lot darker. He talks about how some wizards think they're better than others, just based on where they come from. That word mudblood hangs in the air like a curse, cutting deeper than any spell could. It's all just hatred masked as tradition. But then Hagrid gets to the heart of it. The real power? It's not in bloodlines or money. It's in the magic you carry in your heart, the skill, the courage. Fast forward to Lockhart's office, and the tension in the room could be cut with a knife. Harry's stuck helping him sort through all the fan mail, letters from people practically worshipping him. Lockhart's living his best life in the spotlight, but the whole time, Harry's just trying to keep it together. And then, that voice. It's not even loud, just this strange whispering sound that fills the air, sending a chill down Harry's spine. He brings it up to Lockhart, thinking maybe the guy can help. But Lockhart? His face goes pale. Not exactly the expert on monsters he's cracked himself up to be. Instead of handling it like a pro, he just brushes it off and ends the session way earlier than expected. On his way back from detention, Harry hears the voices again. This time, they're clearer, like someone's whispering right in his ear, but when he looks around, there's no one there. It pulls him down the empty hallways, and his heart's pounding in his chest. He can't help himself. He follows the sound. He finds Ron and Hermione, but when he tells them about the voices, they can't hear a thing. And then, they see it. A message. Blood-red letters that say, "The Chamber of Secrets has been opened. Enemies of the air, beware." Harry's stomach drops, but the nightmare doesn't end there. They look up, and Mrs. Norris, Filch's cat, is hanging by her tail, lifeless, petrified. Like something straight out of a horror story. But it's like everyone's forgotten about the cat when Dumbledore shows up. He's calm, as always, not freaking out like the rest of them. He tells everyone Mrs. Norris isn't dead, just petrified, and the mandrakes will heal her soon. It's a weird relief, but also, there's a lot more to this whole thing than anyone's letting on. Later, Professor McGonagall stands in front of the class, ready to drop a bombshell about Hogwarts' past. She talks about how, 1,000 years ago, the school was founded by 4 really powerful wizards. But one of them, Salazar Slytherin, had a darker vision. He thought only pure-blood wizards deserved a magical education. Before he left the school, Slytherin built this secret chamber, somewhere hidden in the castle, and, supposedly, it's meant to house a monster. Only his heir could control it, and the monster's job? To rid the school of Muggle-born students. McGonagall tries to play it down, saying the chamber's never been found, and it's just an old legend. But then Hermione, all serious, asks, "What's inside, if it is real?" McGonagall doesn't hesitate. "A monster." And suddenly, the story doesn't feel like a fairy tale anymore. It feels like a warning. If the Chamber of Secrets really has been opened, that means Slytherin's heir is already here. Later, the trio gathers to talk about this terrifying possibility. Ron's all fired up, immediately suspecting Malfoy. After all, he's a pureblood, and his hate for Muggleborns is basically the only thing he talks about. But Hermione's not so sure. Malfoy? He doesn't seem grand enough to pull something this big off. Then, it hits her. Maybe it's not Malfoy himself, but his two goons, Crabbe and Goyle. They're the ones who are always in his shadow. With a determined look, Hermione heads straight to the library. A little while later, she comes back, all excited. She's found something. A recipe for Polyjuice Potion. It's a potion that'll let them turn into Crabbe and Goyle, giving them a perfect chance to spy on Malfoy and figure out what's really going on. The only catch? It's going to take a month to brew. Harry's eyes go wide. A month? If the heir is out there, that's a whole lot of time to waste. But Hermione's already made up her mind. She's got a plan, and if Harry doesn't like it, well, that's on him. It's time for the big Quidditch match, Gryffindor versus Slytherin. During the game, a rogue bludger targets Harry and won't let up. Ron tries to help, but his wand is useless. Meanwhile, Malfoy laughs it off, unaware the golden snitch is right behind him. Harry spots the snitch and races for it, dodging the bludger as it closes in. Just as he grabs the snitch, the bludger slams into him, breaking his arm, and sends Malfoy flying off his broom. Gryffindor wins, but Harry's in pain. Then comes Professor Lockhart, who tries to fix Harry's arm with a spell and accidentally removes all his bones instead. In the hospital wing, Madame Pomfrey warns Harry that regrowing bones will be painful. That night, Harry hears the strange voice again and finds Dobby at the foot of his bed. The house elf admits he's been behind the failed barrier at King's Cross and the rogue bludger, all to keep Harry away from Hogwarts. He punishes himself for interfering and explains that house elves can only be freed if given clothes. Dobby pleads with Harry to leave, warning that the Chamber of Secrets has been opened and danger is coming. Then, he vanishes. Moments later, the professors rush in with Colin Creevey, petrified and clutching his camera. Dumbledore confirms the worst. The chamber has been opened. Hogwarts is in danger. The next day, Harry can't stop thinking about what he overheard. The Chamber of Secrets has been opened again. The trio is stunned. Ron immediately points the finger at Draco Malfoy. If Lucius opened it before, maybe Draco's picking up the family hobby. Hermione, though? She's all business. The Polyjuice Potion is almost ready. And once it is, they'll finally get the truth. For now, they're brewing it in Moaning Myrtle's bathroom. Spooky, echoey, and constantly full of ghost tears. But hey, at least it keeps everyone else away. Meanwhile, Lockhart's doing what he does best, making it all about him. To boost morale and his ego, he kicks off a student dueling club and ropes in Snape, who's definitely not there for the fun. Lockhart tries to kick off the dueling club with a flashy demo, but Snape immediately disarms him with a single spell. It's almost embarrassing. Still, Lockhart keeps the show going and pairs students up. Naturally, it's Harry versus Draco. Draco hits first, knocking Harry down, but Harry fires back and sends Draco flying. The room's electric. Snape's watching with zero emotion, and Lockhart is clearly panicking, realizing this is way out of his league. Then Draco escalates, conjuring a snake that slithers straight toward Harry. The crowd freezes. Snape moves to intervene, but Lockhart jumps in first with a spell that completely backfires. Lockhart, being Lockhart, tries to get rid of the snake, and instead launches it into the air. It lands hard, furious, and locks eyes on Justin Finch Fletchley. The room goes dead silent. Then Harry steps forward and starts speaking to it, in Parseltongue, a hissing, eerie language no one expected him to know. The snake hesitates, but it's too late. Everyone's staring at Harry like he's something out of a nightmare. Snape steps in and incinerates the snake, but the damage is done. The whole room is buzzing, and Harry's officially the center of a very weird, very serious mystery. In the library, Hermione and Ron confront Harry. He's a Parselmouth, and he never thought to mention it. Harry's stunned himself. He was just trying to protect Justin, not speak snake. But Parseltongue is super rare and famously tied to Salazar Slytherin, which sends Hermione into full panic mode. Harry's adamant he's not connected to Slytherin, but the rumor mill is already in overdrive. Whispers, stares, and side eyes follow him everywhere. Overwhelmed, he slips out of study hall to breathe. That's when he hears the voice again, cold, eerie, and calling him. He follows it and finds nearly headless Nick and a petrified Justin Finch Fletchley. The gossip instantly explodes, and Harry's right at the center of it. Professor McGonagall brings Harry to Dumbledore's office, where he ends up having a weird chat with the Sorting Hat. It casually drops that Harry would have done well in Slytherin, not exactly what he needed to hear. As he's still processing that, Harry notices Fawkes, Dumbledore's phoenix, suddenly bursting into flames. But Dumbledore walks in calmly and explains that phoenixes do that. They're reborn from the ashes. Oh, and they've got healing tears and can carry heavy loads. Cool, random fact dump. Then Hagrid storms in, insisting Harry had nothing to do with the attacks. Dumbledore doesn't argue. He just gently asks Harry if there's anything he wants to share. Harry says nothing, just shakes his head. Hagrid looks concerned, sensing something's off, but Harry keeps it cool, not revealing anything just yet. Fast forward to Christmas at Hogwarts, and the trio is finally gearing up for their Polyjuice Potion plan. They need hair from Crabbe and Goyle, so Ron and Harry come up with a sneaky plan. They float some cupcakes into the hallway, and like clockwork, Crabbe and Goyle grab them and start stuffing their faces. What they don't know, the cupcakes are laced with a sleeping draft, knocking them out cold. Back in the girls' bathroom, Hermione adds a bit of hair from Millicent's robes, and the Polyjuice Potion is finally ready. Transformation time. Harry turns into Goyle, and Ron becomes Crabbe, but Hermione's not joining them just yet. She stays in the stall and tells the boys to go on ahead. They've only got an hour before the potion wears off, so they can't waste time. On their way to the Slytherin common room, Percy Weasley stops them, way too curious about their late-night wandering. Just as things get tense, Draco Malfoy swoops in to rescue them. He leads them deep into the castle and into the Slytherin lair. Inside, Draco wastes no time throwing jabs at the Weasleys and Dumbledore. Harry and Ron, momentarily forgetting their cover, almost react, but then Draco lets something slip. He doesn't know who the heir of Slytherin is, but his dad told him about the chamber being opened 50 years ago. A Muggle-born student was murdered, another expelled. Draco, in his usual arrogance, hopes this time it'll be Hermione who gets taken out. Ron's about to snap, but Harry holds him back. Then, the transformation starts to wear off. Their covers are slipping fast. They bolt back to the girls' bathroom, where Hermione is still hiding in a stall. When she finally emerges, it's a surprise. She's not Hermione anymore, but a cat. Apparently she grabbed cat hairs instead of Millicent's. Oops, guess the potion didn't work out exactly as planned. While she recovers, Harry and Ron notice the girls' bathroom is flooded. Moaning Myrtle's in full meltdown mode, saying someone threw a book at her. Harry picks it up. A soaked, blank diary with the name Tom Riddle on the back. Curious, he writes in it. To his shock, the ink vanishes and new words appear. Tom responds directly. When Harry asks about the Chamber of Secrets, Tom offers to show him. The diary glows, and suddenly, Harry's pulled inside. He's transported back 50 years, watching a memory unfold. A young Tom Riddle stands coldly as a student's body is carried away. She's dead. Dumbledore calls down from the stairs, but Tom stays calm. Even suggests that catching the culprit might mean no one has to be sent home, especially him. Dumbledore asks young Tom Riddle if he has anything to confess, but Tom brushes it off, claiming he's fine. Harry follows him down the hall, stopping at a door where a young Hagrid sits with a box, visibly distressed. Tom demands Hagrid open it, and to Hagrid's horror, he reveals a massive spider, Aragog. The spider charges out, and Tom wastes no time blaming Hagrid, saying the creature must die. Hagrid protests, trying to protect Aragog, but Tom threatens him with expulsion. In that moment, Harry realizes this is the turning point, the moment Hagrid was expelled and stripped of his magic forever. Harry is suddenly pulled out of the memory, a flash of light snapping him back to the present. He rushes to tell Ron and Hermione everything, but Ron's skeptical about Tom Riddle. Harry's convinced Riddle had reasons for stopping the monster, questioning if Hagrid was really to blame. Before they can head to Hagrid's hut for answers, they're hit with shocking news. Hermione's been petrified. She was found in the library, holding a mirror, and unable to explain what happened. In the Gryffindor common room, Professor McGonagall announces new security measures. If the attacks continue, Hogwarts might be shut down. History seems to be repeating itself, and the danger feels all too real. Desperate, Harry and Ron grab the invisibility cloak and head to Hagrid's hut, determined to find out what he knows about the Chamber of Secrets. He's already expecting visitors, but not friendly ones. Still, he invites them in. After a bit of tension, Harry finally asks, "Hagrid, do you know who opened the Chamber of Secrets?" Before Hagrid can answer, there's a knock on the door. Panic sets in as the boys throw on the invisibility cloak. Moments later, Dumbledore enters with Cornelius Fudge, the Minister of Magic. Fudge is in a bad mood, and it's clear Hogwarts is in serious trouble. The Ministry has decided to take action, and it's Hagrid who's in the spotlight. To Harry's shock, Fudge announces that Hagrid's being sent to Azkaban. Hagrid protests, but Fudge points to his past, his expulsion and ties to dangerous creatures, making it impossible to ignore in these desperate times. But the bad news doesn't stop there. Lucius Malfoy walks in, dripping with smugness, and informs Dumbledore that the Hogwarts governors have decided he must step down as headmaster. With the attacks escalating, they believe Dumbledore's leadership is in question. Dumbledore, calm as ever, agrees, but not without a subtle reminder. If anyone at Hogwarts needs help, all they have to do is ask. His eyes flicker toward Harry and Ron, beneath the invisibility cloak, making the boys feel like they've been caught red-handed. As the adults leave, Hagrid offers a cryptic piece of advice. Follow the spiders. The words hang heavy in the air, leaving an unsettling feeling behind. With Dumbledore gone, things are looking even worse. Harry and Ron watch through Hagrid's window as a mass of spiders begins to pour out, heading straight for the Forbidden Forest. It's clear, they have no choice but to follow. They soon find themselves in a web-covered hollow, face to face with an enormous, older Aragog. The giant spider clears Hagrid's name, confirming he didn't open the chamber, and isn't the monster causing the terror. But the creature responsible is far worse, though Aragog won't say what it is. He does reveal that, after the girl's death, Hagrid brought him to the forest for protection, where he's stayed ever since. As they prepare to leave, Aragog ominously mentions that his children are hungry, and Harry and Ron are on the menu. Before they can react, the spiders close in, and just as things seem hopeless, the Ford Anglia, Harry and Ron's flying car, crashes into the hollow, scattering the spiders. They scramble into the car, and after a bumpy ride, Ron manages to get it flying, pulling them out of the forest and back to safety at Hagrid's hut. After narrowly escaping Aragog, the Ford Anglia, clearly fed up, drops Harry and Ron off and takes off, leaving them exhausted but alive. They head to the hospital wing to check on Hermione, still petrified, and find a crumpled piece of paper in her hand. Unfolding it, they discover a description of a basilisk, a deadly serpent that kills with its gaze. Everything clicks. The basilisk is the creature from the Chamber of Secrets, and Harry can hear it because it speaks Parseltongue. The paper reveals the victims were petrified by the basilisk's gaze, either directly or indirectly, and that the creature is using the castle's pipes to move undetected. Then, a chilling thought strikes Harry. Could the girl who died 50 years ago have been Moaning Myrtle? As the pieces fall into place, it starts to make sense. Before they can dig deeper, they hear Professor McGonagall's voice echo through the halls, urgently telling students to return to their dormitories. Something big is happening. Ignoring the warning, Harry and Ron rush toward the staff room to find out what's going on. They learn that Ginny, Ron's sister, is missing, and a blood-written message on the wall reads, "Her skeleton will lie in the chamber forever." Determined to help, Harry and Ron find Professor Lockhart, expecting him to be the hero he claims to be. Instead, they walk in on him packing his things. Lockhart confesses that all his heroic stories were lies, and that he's actually an expert at erasing memories, and plan to use it on Harry and Ron to cover his tracks. With no time to waste, the boys overpower Lockhart and drag him to the girls' bathroom, hoping Moaning Myrtle might have answers. Myrtle recalls her death. She heard a boy speaking in a strange language outside her stall, and when she stepped out, she saw yellow eyes staring at her before everything went dark. Harry spots something carved into the sink, a snake symbol. Speaking in Parseltongue without thinking, he's surprised when the sink shifts, revealing a hidden hole. It's the Chamber of Secrets, hidden for over 1,000 years. With little hesitation, they shove Lockhart into the hole and follow him down, landing in a pile of bones. Harry forces Lockhart to look at a giant snakeskin nearby, but true to form, Lockhart pretends to faint. As if things weren't bad enough, Lockhart tries to erase Harry's memory with Ron's wand, but the spell backfires, causing rocks to collapse and trap Harry on the other side of a newly formed wall. Perfect timing, right? Now alone, Harry spots a door marked with snake engravings. Using Parseltongue again, he opens it and steps into the Chamber of Secrets. Inside, he finds Ginny, unconscious on the cold stone floor. Just as he rushes to her, a figure emerges from the shadows, Tom Riddle. But surprise, Riddle isn't just some charming teen. He's Voldemort's younger self. Big plot twist. Riddle grins and reveals the truth. Ginny's not dead. She's been his puppet all along, feeding him her life force, growing stronger with every day. Not exactly the heroic figure Harry was hoping for. Riddle explains that Ginny has been his vessel, allowing him to manipulate the events that led them here. In a shocking move, Riddle picks up Harry's wand and taunts him with his dark plans. Ginny, it turns out, was just a pawn in Riddle's scheme to rise again. Tom Riddle's twisted grin stretches even wider as he reveals the ultimate truth. He's not just some teenage genius. He's Voldemort, the Dark Lord himself. He walks Harry through the whole tragic sequence of events, explaining that Ginny Weasley had opened the Chamber of Secrets, but not willingly. She had no control over herself, manipulated by Riddle's influence through the enchanted diary. Ginny was trapped in a trance, a puppet, as she wrote the blood messages and unwittingly unleashed the basilisk. Out of the shadows swoops Fawkes, Dumbledore's loyal phoenix, carrying with him the sorting hat. The bird drops the hat into Harry's lap, and when Harry opens it, inside he finds a gleaming sword, the Sword of Gryffindor, imbued with magical power. The basilisk strikes, but Harry's faster. He drives the Sword of Gryffindor straight through its skull. The serpent crashes down, dead, but not before sinking a venomous fang into Harry's arm. Poison floods his veins. His vision fades. Voldemort, growing stronger by the second, watches with smug satisfaction. But Harry isn't done. With his last ounce of strength, he grabs the fallen fang and stabs the diary. The venom-soaked pages bleed as Tom Riddle screams, his shadowy form disintegrating in a swirl of rage and magic. The spell breaks. Ginny is freed. The chamber begins to collapse. But Harry has won. She wakes, dazed but free from Riddle's grip. Harry, barely conscious, slumps to the ground, poisoned but victorious. The chamber falls into eerie silence. Then, Fawkes swoops in, his tears falling like light. The Phoenix's magic heals Harry, pulling him back from the edge. Voldemort is gone. Ginny is safe. And Harry, battered but alive, knows the battle's just begun. But today, he won. In Dumbledore's office, Harry and Ron brace for punishment, but get praise instead. Yes, they broke rules, but they also killed a basilisk, saved Ginny, and basically saved the school. Dumbledore rewards them for their bravery. Then the tone shifts. Dumbledore reveals Harry's Parseltongue ability comes from Voldemort himself. Dark magic imprinted during that failed curse years ago. The connection between them is real and dangerous. Before leaving, Harry slyly hands Tom Riddle's diary to Dobby, with a sock hidden inside. When it falls out, the spell is broken. Dobby is free. And Lucius Malfoy? Fuming, caught red-handed, tries to deny slipping the diary to Ginny, but Harry calls him out hard. The truth cuts through Lucius's lies, and there's nothing he can do but seethe as his carefully hidden scheme crumbles. Beside Harry stands with him, no longer the trembling servant, but a free elf with fire in his eyes. Lucius tries one last scare tactic, but Dobby shuts him down, proudly declaring he'll never serve someone so cruel again. As he storms off, furious and defeated, Harry watches him go, heart steady. The Malfoys are losing their grip, and Harry knows, whatever darkness lies ahead, he's ready for it. Laughter ripples through the Great Hall as Dumbledore announces the cancellation of exams. After a year of fear and tension, it feels like a collective breath of fresh air. The students, once weighed down by whispers and worry, now swap survival stories with pride. For the first time in months, Hogwarts feels safe again, brighter, warmer, and united. Harry, Ron, and Hermione share a quiet, victorious moment. They face the impossible, and nothing can break their bond. Hagrid expresses his gratitude to the trio for clearing his name and saving him from Azkaban, further solidifying their bond. As the year ends, there's a shared feeling that things are finally back to normal. Despite the chaos, the students head to their dorms, knowing they've come out stronger and more united, ready for whatever challenges the future may bring. And with that, this movie comes to an end. Don't want to miss the third part? Then subscribe now, and I will see you soon. Bye.